YouTube has just announced that they are stealing community notes from Twitter. Well, they didn't actually say those words, but they are basically adding that feature to YouTube videos. But will this be a great idea or a horrible one? In case you are sane and someone that doesn't use Twitter, you might not know what community notes are. They are arguably the best thing that Elon Musk has implemented since he took over Twitter, and they have become so popular that people screenshot the best ones like they're memes. So it's no surprise that YouTube would be interested in another feature that's popular on another website because they never want you to leave YouTube. So they will constantly try to give you new shiny toys to make you stay. Forever. So this is what YouTube had to say in their press release. Starting today, we are testing an experimental feature to allow people to add notes to provide relevant, timely, and easy to understand context on videos. For example, this could include notes that clarify when a song is meant to be a parody, point out when a new version of a product being reviewed is available, or let viewers know when older footage is mistakenly portrayed as a current event. Now, these examples seem pretty reasonable. I think anyone would want to know if there's a new version of a product out, or if footage they are watching is misleading or being used in a deceptive way. I do think the song parody one is a bit silly, but there must be enough people out there that don't understand what parody is. One example that I'm surprised they didn't use that I think would have been perfect is using community notes to call out AI. Now, I know YouTube already has some type of feature for this, but I do think community notes would be a benefit to all the bad actors out there that don't label their content as AI. The article did also have an example of how community notes will look. It does seem that you'll be able to have timestamps for the video accompanied by sources that correct any false information. The article also states that notes will appear publicly under a video if it's found to be broadly helpful. People will be asked whether they think the note is helpful, somewhat helpful, or unhelpful, and why. For example, whether it cites high-quality sources or is written clearly and neutrally. So with that information, we know why they want to do it. But I think when it comes to YouTube, a lot of people are always going to ask, who can do it? Because let's be real, providing notes to make sure people get the proper information is nice, but in the wrong hands, we know that it could be really bad. Because what if enough people got together and supported a community note that was incorrect? For example, could someone go to an educational video about the Earth and make a note that the Earth is flat? And if enough people click the helpful button, would that become a community note under the video? Well, according to the article, it doesn't look like that's something people are going to have to worry about for a bit, because YouTube says to start, a limited number of eligible contributors will be invited via email or Creator Studio notifications to write notes so that we can test the feature and improve our systems before we consider expanding. Eligibility criteria include having an active YouTube channel in good standing with our community guidelines. I did go check out the requirements for the people that can make notes, and this is what YouTube had listed. To write notes, you'll need to have a YouTube channel that was created 6 or more months ago. I think this is pretty smart because trolls won't be able to mass create a bunch of YouTube accounts to spread false information. The next thing they list is that the channel can't have a community guideline strike in the past 12 months. It isn't a supervised account. I think this just means that kids won't have access to this. It doesn't have multiple owners such as a brand account or a school account, and your account will need to be based in the United States with your language set to English. During the pilot phase, only a limited number of eligible accounts can write notes. So for the time being, it looks like YouTube is putting in a bunch of safeguards so this feature isn't abused. But if we're being real, YouTube has like 3 billion active users, so there will definitely be some bad apples out there pushing the boundaries on this feature. Also, let us not forget that YouTube doesn't have the best track record when it comes to punishing people that abuse their systems. I will say this feature is going to be interesting on YouTube because I'm curious if any user can community note any content creator for any reason. For example, I had a lot of people hating my Stellar Blade videos because I personally don't believe that the game was censored, but they do. Can those viewers community note my videos even though I provided a bunch of evidence for my claims? I'm also curious on what's going to be considered a high quality source for these community notes. I've seen Twitter community notes that have had Reddit links as their source, which if you've ever been on Reddit, it's not some bastion of truth. So that's going to be interesting, but on top of that, I'm also curious about the parasocial aspect of community notes happening on YouTube. Like, could you imagine how unbearable community notes can be if you watch creators like Hassan or Destiny? Their fans might just be community noting those creators on every post. I'm also curious if people are going to use community notes as a way to bring up the past for certain creators. Like, if someone mentions a bridge around PewDiePie, will people be explaining the bridge incident? Which at the end of the day, I don't think it's a bad thing. As long as the community notes are providing factual evidence, I don't really see a problem, but I do think it can get really annoying if we start seeing people making community notes their personality similar to Reddit mods. The last thing I will say is I hope that YouTube community notes don't become some kind of death sentence. There is this weird aura on Twitter where if you get a community note, you are basically a liar. But on YouTube, if someone makes a video that's like an hour long, but somebody makes a community note about like, let's say 5 or 10 seconds of the video, I hope people don't just start discrediting the whole video or the creator that made it. Either way, I'm interested to see how this feature is going to turn out because I do think a lot of positive can come from it. I've seen a lot of people saying that grifters and clickbaiters should be quaking in their boots right now because they can finally be called out on their terrible content. Also, this might unironically be a way to hold reaction YouTubers accountable by making community notes with the original links to the videos. I have a reaction channel and I would totally be down with that. Anyway, sorry for the lack of videos these last few weeks. Life has been a bit crazy. I had to house sit for a week, I got some bad family news, someone broke into my car, and yeah, I've also been trying to make a 6th month video because I completely forgot that 6 months had already passed on this channel, and I've been wanting to make an update video about what I've learned and shit. But unfortunately, that's taking way longer than expected, but hopefully it'll be out next week, barring any crazy mishaps happening. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget your daily dose of juice. Bam!